guys, it's Sarah, and today I bring to you my extremely late July wrap-up. So listen, I put up a poll on Twitter and I asked everyone if they would prefer for me to combine my July and August wrap-up or if I could just do two separate wrap-ups, and literally 197 people said to combine and 66 said to keep separate. I decided to hoe the majority over and side with the 66. Is it just me, or do you ever feel like asking people for their opinion makes you realize what your true opinion is? Like maybe you're like, should I wear this dress? And your friend says no, and then you're like, but I like this dress, so I'm gonna wear it. I feel like I'm that girl that always does the opposite of what people tell me to do. So July wasn't an amazing reading month for me. But let's be real. Do I ever have an amazing reading month? No. Answer's no. So the first book I read, or technically listened to, was A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess. A Clockwork Orange is a dystopian novel that was published in the 1960s, and it basically centers around this boy named Alex and his gang of friends. And essentially every night they just go out and wreak havoc on the town, and they just do bad stuff, like really bad stuff. It's a very dark novel. And then Alex gets caught for one of the crimes, and he ends up having to go and be reformed by the government for what he has been doing. I really enjoyed this book, and I was very surprised because honestly, reading classics in high school, I often thought they were quite boring, but this one was very interesting, especially to listen to, because number one, the narrator was amazing, and then number two, it's actually told in a weird colloquial language. Is that how you say colloquial? That's a hard word to say. Anyway, it's told in this slang called nadsat, and essentially it is a combination between Russian and Cockney English. It's very hard to understand, especially if you're physically reading, so I think listening to it on audio really helped me. Kind of like watching Shakespeare versus trying to read it. It's easier to just like understand if you just can hear what they're saying. I found the use of slang to be really interesting because, like I said, a lot of really dark things happen in this book, and I feel like Anthony Burgess used the slang as a way to distance you from the violence that's happening in the book. Like there's a lot of sexual content and violence. Like I do not recommend this book for like 12-year-olds. There would literally be scenes where I'd be like, is Alex raping this person or beating them or just shaking their hand? I'm not really sure because of the language. Overall, I just really liked this book because I thought it was a really interesting commentary on like good versus evil and just like morals, and like if you have a choice to be moral or if you don't have a choice to be moral, like what is morality? I know that doesn't really make a lot of sense when I say it out loud, but if you want to hear more of my articulate thoughts about the book, I suggest watching the live show linked down below. So the next book I finished in July was Layer of Dreams by Libba Bray. I also listened to this on audio, and let me just say, the audiobook is phenomenal. This is the follow-up to The Diviners by Libba Bray, and for those of you who even remotely know me, know that I love The Diviners. It was my favorite book that I read in 2015, and Layer of Dreams did not disappoint. For those of you who for some reason don't know, the Diviners series is set in the 1920s in New York, and it's about a girl named Evie who's sent from the Midwest to live in New York with her uncle, who owns this like supernatural museum. The characters in these books are so diverse. Like I said, there's a huge cast of main characters, and there is a girl named Theda who's a flapper. There's a guy named Memphis who is African American and lives in Harlem, and he's a poet. There's Sam, who's like this guy who his parents were Russian immigrants and he's like a pickpocket, and then there's this guy named Jericho and a girl named Mabel, and now I'm just listing character names. In the first book, The Diviners, they're basically fighting a murderer who has his own perspective in the book, who's like going around killing people, and so that was really interesting. This one was like a ghost, and I won't go too much into it, but there was like a sleeping sickness and like dreaming and all this stuff. I didn't think that was quite as interesting, but I still really enjoyed what I read. I don't know about you guys, but honestly, the Diviners series would make the most amazing TV show. Like listening to the audio, I always feel like I am watching episodes. Like it's because of the multiple points of view, it's very episodic and like the most perfect way. Literally, I could see where the start of an episode would be and where the end of an episode would be, and there's just like so many layers and so much conspiracy and so much supernatural stuff that it would be the most amazing show. I feel so passionate about this book that I read some negative reviews on Goodreads, and I had that immature thought of, well, you're just all wrong, and I'll actually fight you because this book was so good. And the last book I finished in July was Walk on Earth, a Stranger by Ray Carson. I thought it sounded really interesting because basically it's a historical fiction novel about a girl named Lee who has the power to sense gold. And this is very important because the time period is like the gold rush. And in the beginning of the book, her parents are murdered, and so she has to flee, and then she dresses up like a boy to travel west. So when I started this book, it was high pace, her parents get murdered like right away, she's like gotta dress up like a boy, gotta escape, and you're just like, yeah, you gotta escape. And then she starts her journey and things start happening to her and you're like, oh my gosh, oh, this is gonna be such like a thrill ride. But then, as you may know, you have to travel across a desert in this time period to get to California. It got real boring. And it was really disappointing because the writing style was great. I never could complain about the writing style. It always was interesting. I really like the way Ray Carson described things. They had to travel like, I think it was like 2 or 3 months, and I felt like I was reading for 2 or 3 months. Honestly, even really exciting things would happen, like crazy things would happen, and I'd be like, I don't even care because I'm just so bored right now. I also kind of felt like the gold sensing plot was put to the wayside. They honestly went like 100 pages without even talking about the fact that Lee could sense gold, and I was just like, I don't understand because that's like the premise of the book. I don't get it. And it's meant to be a trilogy, and when I got to the end of it, I was like, I can't even fathom reading 2 more of these books. Like, I definitely don't think I'm gonna finish this series because I was just like, I cannot sit through that 2 more times. But that's pretty much it for my July wrap up. I'm sorry that I disobeyed the Twitter poll and just did whatever I want. I know, I'm a terrible person. Is it too late now to say sorry? Thank you so much for watching. You're all beautiful. Have a nice day. Dog needs heart. Hey, lay down. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm really nervous right now. Okay, you do you.